Hello, everyone, and welcome to this discussion on a topic that's really relevant and important in today's world. Joining me today is Manju Jalali, Vice President and Chief Information Officer for GlobalFoundries. She's responsible for the management and implementation of information technology and manufacturing systems. Manju is driving digital transformation for the company. Welcome, Manju. Also joining me is our dynamic leader from Infosys, Komal, a global business leader in information technology, consulting, and outsourcing, and a trusted partner to C-level leadership of many business organizations.
Thanks for the wonderful introductions. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Absolutely great, Aruna. Thank you so much for having me on this forum. Excited to be here.
All right, let's get started with our first question. The strategic import of diversity and inclusion has heightened, especially in the wake of major social, political changes over the past decades. And leading companies are taking steps to improve their diversity, ensure equity, and importantly, focus on inclusion. Manju, how is GlobalFoundries making this a priority for its businesses worldwide? And what specific steps are you leading to diversify your IT talent pool?
Thank you for the question. Diversity and inclusion, it is a very important topic for our company. It is our strategic intent. And what we have done is actually set up a separate organization to drive diversity organization-wide and create a very inclusive environment. We are very committed. We are actually embracing and expanding it across the entire organization, across all sites, across all levels of the organization. We recognize the power of diversity, inclusion, equity. It's transformative. And when you actively engage your employees in different perspectives, you're actually you're fostering a culture of innovation and creativity. And that's so important for companies to be future ready. So we have number of actions, number of trainings in place to really help us build this initiative as the DNA of our corporate culture and integrate it tightly with our core values. I think the entire organization is really ready for the change. They are very enthusiastic. They're aligned and marching together to drive this change. Now, on my side in the IT, again, the leadership starts with an accountability. So you set the tone for the organization. You communicate why it is so important to have diversity in the teams to create an inclusive environment. Because especially in IT world, when you encourage ideas to flourish, when you bring in different perspectives, different views, you are and create a safe space for your employees. You are again encouraging a lot of innovation and creativity. And to me, that's a must for IT to be relevant. So we're taking a number of steps. I think one of the steps is, first of all, we make the data of the representation data very transparent to our employees, to our managers. They can easily access it. And then we partner with the D&I team because there are lots of tools and resources that are made available to us. And one of a very rich set of tools is we have this global survey. We use Glint for that. And it has diversity and inclusion as one of the core components. So what we do is that we take the feedback. It has a rich feedback that comes in from the employees. And we club it into teams. That helps us to drive the goals and actions for the organization. And then we partner with HR to look at any inequitable practices. So for example, you look at the hiring data, you look at attrition data, you look at career progression data, and you take the required actions. So if you set right at the source, when you're hiring, you make sure you have the right representation of candidates. You go through trainings like unconscious bias so that, there's a conscious effort by our employees to look into their behaviors, especially when you're doing performance reviews, when you're selecting candidates for trainings and development. So a whole lot of actions are in place, and I'm sure that what the steps we are taking will definitely help us to influence the change and create a positive impact for the company.
Komal, today is a red letter day for Infosys. Today, Infosys will launch its ESG Vision 2030. I know that D&I is a huge part of this vision. Can you tell us a little about it?
No, you're absolutely right. D&I has been a very integral part of Infosys ethos right from the very beginning, from the days it was founded. On it, there are key things that come to my mind. Number one, respect for each other has been very integral to everything that we do. And that kind of guides diversity and inclusion guidelines across the organization. You know, when I look back, Mr. Murthy, who's our founder, he always felt that Infosys is one place where people from diverse backgrounds come together and work in a very cohesive environment. Today, as an organization, if you look at it, we have people from 144 nationalities coming and working with us in a global workforce. We have close to 38% of our talent, which is represented by women talent. And at a leadership level, we have close to 28% of our non-executive members of the board being represented by women. So across the organization, there's a big focus in terms of diversity and inclusion. Also, as Infosys, we're also members of the United Nations Women Empowerment Principles, and we've also embraced the United Nations Code for against discrimination for LGBTI. So all in all, there are various measures that have been put in place to ensure that there is big focus. And if you really look at it, Aruna, the key principle behind this is we believe diversity really comes along with diversity of ideas and diversity of thinking. And that we believe leads to better solutions.
Manju, you are leading the Global Women chapter at the Singapore office for GlobalFoundries. What are your plans to strengthen the participation of women, very specifically in IT at GlobalFoundries?
Yeah, let me just talk about a bit about what we are doing as part of Global Women's chapter, and then I can zoom into what we are doing for IT. So, see, at the heart of our D&I journey is the desire and dependability to increase the representation of women in our organization. And as I said earlier, it starts with making your representation data very transparent and easily accessible to our managers. So we partner with HR to make sure that we look into the hiring practices and we have the right representation when we are sourcing for the candidates, and that applies to IT as well. The second is that we work with HR to look into opportunities for professional development for women, and that applies to every woman in the organization. So, for example, we have a global chapter in every region of GlobalFoundries. Singapore is one of the chapters that I'm leading. We started it about 3 years back. We had 50 members, and today we have more than 300. So that shows that how actively, it's kind of, helping us to drive a change. So all of us are very, very actively engaged in growing this organization. In fact, even during this pandemic times, we collaborate, meet regularly using these virtual sessions. So what this team does is they organize sessions like networking opportunities, mentoring and coaching. They have a lot of speakers coming in from external and internally within the organization talking about development of women in technology field. We have opportunities like for women to go and participate in external seminars or participate in STEM education programs. So whole lot of opportunities, and it applies to every woman and everybody in the organization. Now these are really encouraging our women to pursue their professional careers as well as to take on leadership positions. Within the IT world, what we are doing is that we don't just look at it internally. I think I did say what we are doing from an internal aspect to grow our representation, especially for women. But we are also going outside and helping drive the change at the community level, at the grassroots level. So we participate in schools, in universities, in campus drives. We talk about, we encourage women to really join the technology sector. And what we are looking forward to is, maybe work together with our partner ecosystem like Infosys, just to drive the initiative together. And I'm sure that when we do that, when we inculcate this mindset change and look at diversity and have it as a focus area, we can really initiate a change at the community and at the grassroots level.
Komal, I understand there's something similar happening at Infosys with the women in technology efforts. Can you throw a little light on this?
Absolutely, Aruna. I think women in technology is extremely integral to our diversity and inclusion program. When we look at hiring talent, we are fortunate to have 50% of our talent on every engineering batch we hire to be women. So that's a great start. In addition to that, we have also put together very specialized focus programs in terms of training and development, which enable supporting women leaders as they grow through various phases of their career. Also, what we have recently started is an AI-based program, what we call as Architect Academy, which enables women who want to continue to pursue career in the core technology areas. And I think the response from women leaders has been very, very encouraging. It's been increasing year in year. In addition to this, we're also working very closely with NASCOM on Women Wizards Rule program. This initiative is about enabling and empowering 10,000 women across the nation and in emerging and new technologies. Now, out of these, 400 women are from Infosys. We're also providing about 250 technical experience and subject matter experts to support that program. And over and above that, there are another 10 or 15 subject matter experts which are supporting that big initiative. In addition to that, we're also, as Infosys, supporting the maternity amendment proposed by the Government of India, which promotes 26 weeks of maternity leave for women. Because we really believe that women have an extra challenge or an onus on them when they have to take on their personal responsibility, family responsibility, in addition to the work responsibility. And what we really have seen, Aruna, is that we're seeing close to an 89% success rate in terms of women returning back to work post such leave. I think that's a huge success that's going on for Infosys. But really, if you look at it, we're all about providing an equitable environment, an equitable support structure to women leaders across the organization, because the demands on them are far more pressing, both on the work side as well as on the family side. So all in all, I think good work happening there, and we're looking forward to continue to make good strides in this area.
So Manju, would there be a focus on any other dimension of diversity that you are also keeping your eye on at GlobalFoundries?
Absolutely. I think our D&I initiative, it does not just focus on gender diversity. It looks at all aspects and all the dimensions of diversity. So, example, age, race, experience, etc. So, it's a global chapter. Focuses across the entire organization. But obviously, there is a local context because the problems can vary from region to region. So one of the things I'm doing in IMIT, and this is something that is really relevant to us, is experience. We have made sure that when we do our hiring, it's a good blend of fresh grads, very experienced folks, and that goes back to the age. Because when we see that you have a good mix of different experiences, ages coming together, you actually elevate the entire team and you drive the best outcomes for the organization. So this is one of the things that is very close to us. We have a global team. It is rich in cultural heritages, and if we can leverage on those cultural values, traditions that we can bring to the table, including the different dimensions of diversity, there's a whole lot of value that we can add to the organization by learning from those experiences, from those values that each and every one brings to the table.
Komal, I understand Infosys has also made huge strides in welcoming and integrating employees with disabilities. Can you talk a little about that?
Absolutely, Aruna. In fact, I would go all the way back to 1998 when I first joined Infosys. And I very distinctly remember that at that time, one of my team members was a member having different abilities. And in that setup, Infosys provided him the work environment to number one, be valued as a contributor, and the support set up for him to experience and provide his skills as a team, right? Since then, I have seen that the focus on providing the support structure has continued to increase over the years, right? So in terms of, for example, the physical environment, right, we have looked at how we are redesigning our campuses across the world, how we're providing special training facilities for people who are joining us. Also looking at each and every venues, whether it's virtual training, whether it's virtual environments, to ensure that they have a good, conductive work environment to come and contribute meaningfully. I think the way we are looking at this is we're not just trying to accommodate to their needs, but really trying to focus on their aspirations and providing a really good working environment where they can continue to flourish and see a great place to build their career.
I know Manju, GlobalFoundries is also doing some very, very interesting work, and especially in the communities to enable people with disabilities. Can you tell us a little more about your support to Sabaratnam Trust in India and other projects in this space?
Yeah, see, GlobalFoundries India has been involved in social causes right from its inception. So in the recent times, we are involved with the Samarthanam Trust for Disabled. What we did was that we set up a customized conveyor belt for them, which processes waste. And previously, understand it used to process 1 ton of waste a week. Now it has gone up to 21 tons. So we really made a difference there. We are also partnering with the schools for disabled. I think one of the things we are doing is setting up computer labs, donating computer equipment to the children. One of the things that is really a fulfilling experience for us is that some of our team building events we conduct in these schools. And in fact, I have personally been involved in some of them, and it is a very enriching experience for everyone involved. We are also doing our part in fighting the COVID pandemic. We are donating a lot of PPE, masks, health equipment, life-saving equipment to a number of hospitals and of course we will continue to do that. Hopefully this is behind us pretty soon.
I know, Komal, when we spoke the first time, you also made a mention of work that you do personally to support minority communities. Can you give us a little information about this?
Yes, Anna. So that's very close to my heart because I think where we come from and what we've accomplished, it's important to realize how privileged and fortunate we are. And there are certain sections of society that are not as privileged or they don't have these opportunities. So in my own little way, I look at supporting certain educational institutions for the underprivileged, especially for certain orphan colleges. And this is something, a small group of friends that we started, and over the years it has mushroomed to be a big institution. And what is really heartening to know is that over these 10, 15 years that I have been associated with this organization, it has continued to grow.
Beautiful thought. It's been great speaking to both you, Manju, and Komal. And I think we spoke about what each of our organizations are doing in order to build inclusive workplaces. But what really touched my heart was the personal stories of reaching out and involving a larger community, enabling possibly a larger good, improvement, and progress for all. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure speaking with you.
Thanks for the opportunity once again.
Thank you so much, Manju. Thank you so much, Arnav, for having me here. Pleasure to be here. Thank you.